Hi, I'm Jeremy Crosby.
And I'm Nick Boucher. We're your hosts for the program that's all about your city, Talking Fitchburg.
Every weekday, we pull together the news, events, and information you need to stay on top of what's happening in the city of Fitchburg.
Find Talking Fitchburg on cable TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and our live stream on the web. Plus, you can find all our headlines and stories on Facebook, YouTube, and our video on demand service. This is your city.
Keep up with Talking Fitchburg and the issues affecting you and your neighbors.
Get connected, Fitchburg. We're launching Fitchburg Connect, the city's new monthly e-newsletter that keeps you informed about all the events, services, and updates that matter to you. Get it in your inbox once a month. Sign up today to get Fitchburg Connect.
I call to order the meeting of the Finance Committee on February 10th, 2026 at 5:36 p.m. First item of business is the approval of minutes. I'll need a motion on the draft minutes of the January 27, 2026 Finance meeting.
I move approval.
Motion approved by Alder Jetzer. Comments or questions about the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Next is item 3, public appearances for non-agenda items. We have nobody in chambers and nobody online registered for non-agenda items. So we will move on to item 4, Finance Director Report, including the Treasurer's Report as of November 30, 2025. Misty?
Yeah, so let's start with that Treasurer's Report. First, we do fall a little bit behind this time of year with property taxes and end of year, so thank you for your patience. Plan is to get November done this meeting, and then we're hoping to get December on the next meeting. But remember, December and January will only be those first couple of pages because we don't want to provide information, especially for end of year, that isn't complete. So for November, I just have a couple of notes. One, there is a negative balance in the neighborhood engagement account. That's just a timing issue with a check, so that will clear out by the end of the year. And then the one community bank CD matured in November, but we didn't renew it until the grace period in December. So you'll see that renewal in the December report instead. So I'll pause in case there's questions. Okay. Other than that, tax collection, yes, has been kind of our biggest thing. We collected through the grace period, which would have ended last week, Friday. We collected $86 million, which is for all of the taxing jurisdictions. It is a larger dollar amount than what we've collected in other years, but the percentage of the total is at 68.1%, which is real close to what we've been doing the past several years. And then I have if you're interested, most of the payments were by check, 92% by check. We did have 7.5% online, which would be the credit card payments and the ACH payments. And then we had 0.2% in cash. So those were just some interesting statistics, and again, pretty close to what we've seen over the past several years.
So people just show up with a briefcase full of cash?
Sometimes, yep. So we get a fair amount of cash. It is interesting. So there's a IRS law that if you get a certain amount of cash, you have to report it to the IRS. But as a government, we are exempt from that. So even if we get more than, I think it's $10,000 in cash, we can accept it because it's property tax payment.
I got to keep that in mind for next year.
That's wild.
It is extra steps, right? Because we count it there, and then we count it back there, and then we count it somewhere else. So we take a lot of care. Don't put cash in the Dropbox, though.
Good tip.
Yes. That's all I have.
Thank you so much, Misty. We can move on to item 5, review of bills. First up is detailed review of all checks issued, checks 129,887 to 130,058 from January 16 to 31, 2026, totaling $3,861,871.89. Comments or questions? Micah.
Could you just explain the tax overpayment issue and how that happens?
Yeah. So it is almost always when a property owner escrows their taxes. And the arrangement between the property owner and the escrow varies depending on the exact situation. But some of the arrangements are that the escrow company will pay the full amount to the city regardless of what the bill is. And so if someone has over escrowed throughout the year, that comes all in full to the city, and then we issue a refund back to the property owner. That's by far the most common situation. but all of these would be overpayments on the full tax bill, and then we process them twice a year. So once with all the December settlement stuff, we'll process in January, and then once we have settlement for the January collections, we'll process all of those refunds in February. And in total, we had 105 refunds this year.
All right, seeing nothing else, we can move on to item 5B, detailed review of all ACH payments from January 1 to 31, 2026, totaling $717,298.51. Comments or questions? All right, we can move on to our action items. Item 6A, I'll need a motion on Resolution R 2626, accepting agreement with the USGS for operation of the Swan Creek Monitoring Station.
I'll move approval.
Motion approved by Alder Lettice. Tim?
Good evening. The city installed a U.S. Geological Survey monitoring station on Swan Creek in 2021. The operating cost for 2026 will be funded by the city of Fitchburg, USGS, and town of Dunn. City of Fitchburg will provide $19,541.84 of funding from the Stormwater Professional Services account for the operation of the station in 2026. Looking for council to authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign the attached joint funding agreement between the City of Fitchburg and USGS.
Wonderful. Thank you, Tim. Questions? Really happy to see this continue. Background's in geology, so I think this is very important and love to see the USGS getting support. And I also want to thank Town of Dunn as well for continuing to support the project. They value environmental quality very highly, and they're a much smaller community, but they do contribute to the function of the station, which is great. Seeing no other questions, we can vote. All in favor of Resolution R 2626, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to 6B, I'll need a motion on Resolution R 3326, authorizing city staff to proceed with design and project scope for the inclusive playground shelter at McKee Farms Park.
I move approval.
Motion approved by Alder Jetzer. Who's going to cover this? Misty?
Eric, are you planning to cover this one?
Yep, I'm online.
Oh,
Good
wonderful.
evening, everyone. We have two versions of a concept plan for a shelter design at the McKee Farms Park Inclusive Playground. At Parks Board request, we provided both an option A and an option B, which we're soliciting input from City Council tonight. You'll notice there's OPCs attached to those, which are opinions of projected cost. Option A is a grain bin silo style structure, with the total being $148,285.50. Option B being $170,285.50. Looking to see if we could have a recommendation on either version A or version B. I will note that the CIP project was budgeted for $170,000. So option B is just slightly over the allocated amount in the CIP plan.
Thanks so much, Eric. I think this is the first time I've had you on a meeting, so I'm so happy to see you here. Welcome.
Yes, I believe it is. Thank you very much for having me, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, we're so happy to have you with us. Do we need to select one of the designs as a finance committee?
So it's up to what you guys.
I might ask clarification from Misty on that one.
Yeah.
So it's up to whatever the committee ultimately wants to decide. From a financial perspective, there is a cost difference between the two, but I'll say there is sufficient park fees available to pick up a little bit extra if you do choose the one that is projected to be slightly over the budget. We don't actually know for real what the cost is going to be until it's bid, so we would address any budget amendment if one was needed at that time. So from a finance perspective, you could say, yes, we can afford either option, and then the stylistic would be up to a different body, or if you wanted to make a selection, you're welcome to do that too.
Bill?
Thank you, Misty.
Yeah, I guess I'd be in favor of having the council look at it. You know, I mean, we're finance committee, we're not parks commission, so yeah, I'm not sure our opinion would really matter all that much. I do have a question though, Eric. The grain bin looks like it's got wooden timbers for the vertical supports rather than steel structure. So I guess I'm wondering, what's the projected lifespan of each of these different structures?
That was just an example photo of a previously structured one. There wasn't actual renderings completed for the grain bin one. It's projected that those would actually be metal structures, but they would all also be wrapped in a masonry or bricks on the bottoms of those actual pedestals. So I wouldn't expect any foreseeable maintenance difference in them in either version.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we should have to choose a design here as Finance Committee.
Just approve the purchase of one of them
Yeah.
to be determined.
I think the very slight overage over 100 over the budget is something we can absorb in the budget. Seeing no other comments or questions, I think we can go ahead and vote, and then we'll let the council decide on the design. All in favor of Resolution R3326, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thanks so much, Eric. Oh, we got more here for parks. I'll need a motion on Resolution R3726, amending the 2026 TID Closure Fund and Capital Projects Fund budgets, replacement picnic tables and benches.
Move approval.
Motion approved by Alder Lattice. Eric?
So there are 3 parks that we're proposing to have new benches and picnic tables installed, that being Stoner Prairie, Southdale, and Tower Hill. There were not any remaining capital funds associated that we could make that expenditure on. We had reached our allotted amount basically, so what this is looking to see for that last portion of these projects to complete them, having new benches and picnic tables installed. The majority of the purchase you'll see is from the Town of Madison Parks budget line. That will be for Southdale Park, which is the majority of where the picnic tables will be installed.
Questions from the committee? Micah?
How many picnic tables and how many benches are we purchasing?
So there's going to be 6 picnic tables and 4 benches. Each picnic table is just under $2,000. They're approximately $1,800 for the non-handicap accessible ones and a little bit more expensive for handicap accessible ones. We will be purchasing handicap accessible ones for the parks, though, for all 3 versions, or all 3 parks.
Great. Well, seeing no other questions, we can vote. All in favor of Resolution R3726, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thanks so much, Eric. Next.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Have a nice night. Next, I'll take a motion on Resolution R3926, 2026 Payment Service Network PSN fees.
I move approval.
Motion approved by Alder Jetzer. Missy?
This is an annual pre-approval that we bring forward for the credit card acceptance fees for our utility bills. The cost is split, half paid by the sewer utility, by those ratepayers, and half paid by the water utility and those ratepayers.
Great. Questions?
This one.
Yeah.
Is this separate from the property tax payment? It's the same provider, right? Service provider that does our property tax payments, but this is a separate one. This is just for utilities?
Correct.
Okay. Who gets the dollar for the property tax payments?
PSN does.
They do. So that's
Yep.
their service for providing property taxes. And that's okay.
Exactly.
I was surprised how I would have thought more people paid online. So that was interesting when you said that it was only like 7% or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's interesting.
Number-wise, though, it's quite a few. Because remember,
Sure.
we're collecting like
Yeah.
9,000 transactions or
Right.
something like that. So it is still quite a few. It's also interesting, if I can tangent for a moment, most of the people that pay online in the first by December are almost always ACH payments. And then towards the due date is when we start getting kind of more of the credit card payments, which is a 3% charge for that, which also goes to PSN.
Seeing no other questions, we can vote. All in favor of Resolution R3926, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. We are at the end of our agenda items, our action items, rather. Next is item 7, announcements. Our next finance meeting will be February 24, 2026, in 2 weeks. With no other announcements, I will take a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Motion by Alder Lattice. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
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 Motion carries. We are adjourned at 5:49 p.m. Thank you so much.